Because you're all scumbags. So I'm glad someone said it for the first time.
This is Jonathan Anger with Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Ben Shalom here at the first press conference for Adam Azim, Ohara Davies, October 19th at the Copper Box. Ben, that was entertaining up there. I'm not sure Ohara's happy with guys like me and the rest of the media, but what did you make of the press conference? Did you expect that?
It's because you're all scumbags. So I'm glad someone said it for the first time. No, look, to be honest, the reason this fight was so exciting to us was because of that. And although it's not directed at Adam, it's directed at me, or it's directed at Shane, or it's directed at you, it's good to be involved in this sort of controversy and good to be involved in a fight of such jeopardy. Ohara Davies, this is a must-win fight for him. You know, he's I think what that was him realising how cruel boxing is, but also what an unfair place it is. Everyone's up your arse when everything's going well, and then he's had a hard defeat and everyone's disappeared, and he's angry and he's upset and he's a wounded animal, and he thinks I made a huge mistake by giving him a lifeline, which that's what we want for Adam. We want a fight with jeopardy, and it's a huge fight, and Ohara brings what we expect him to bring, and as long as it never gets to the stage where we're cancelling or pulling down streams, absolutely fine. I'm excited, and really excited for Adam to be in a fight like this. I think we're seeing him growing in stature, and the way he was defending Shane and talking so well. We forget this guy's 22 years old. When I was 22 years old, I was in student accommodation doing God knows what, you know, and he's there headlining on Sky Sports with the weight of the world on his shoulders, having already become European champion, fighting a guy extremely experienced. He deserves a lot of credit, and moving really quickly.
I just wondered, did you have a word with Shane after? I know you work closely with him. Did you speak to him? And because I guess people did expect maybe Ohara to say certain things. Maybe you weren't really expecting him to bring out the book of Barry and stuff. But did you get a chance to speak to Shane?
No, but Shane's a big boy, and I'm sure he doesn't care, and ultimately knows Ohara's trying to get in the heads of the team. But ultimately, it does sell the fight, and we care about Adam Azim. So anything that brings more numbers to this fight, I don't think either of us are that bothered, and it brings entertainment, brings numbers. It is what it is.
Now, if Ohara's stance is that he's not going to talk to media, is that a concern for you for fight week? If he's not willing to sell the fight?
Not if he does press conferences like that. So, look, of course, I think he'll start to do media as the camp goes on. But right now, he's pissed off, and I think he went quiet, and then when this fight was rumoured, then the media started talking about him again, and he was just like, shut up, where have you been for the past few months? Friends that he's got in the industry, and that's all that is. And I think now that the fight's announced, he can look forward to it, and you'll probably see him come out in the media.
TKV Ignatius heavyweight fight, how important is it for both of these guys to get the win? Huge,
and with what's happening in the heavyweight division and the domestic scene, it's just a big fight for both of them, for both camps. Two guys coming in with everything to prove, be the biggest win on either of their records, and they both need it to get into that domestic scene. So it's I'm happy for Jamie to get a test like this, but equally for Franklin, and it'll add to what is a huge night. We've still got two big fights, still got a chief support to add to this card. It's going to be a big London card for me, the card in this country outside of September 21st to look forward to. I think it's going to be a really special night at the Copper Box.
You announced, or Golden Boy announced, Chris Billam-Smith against Zurdo Ramirez. How pleased are you for Chris to get this opportunity, a guy who's worked his way up from small hall to the biggest stage in Saudi Arabia? Yeah,
it's ridiculous, and the journey just keeps continuing. I mean, we feel like we're the underdogs, and with the underdog story, whether it's Jack Massey, whether it's Tyler Denny, whether it's all these guys that we've had to grow with, Chris Billam-Smith is a shining example, and he'll win again. He will win again, and he'll be the slight underdog underdog again, and he'll come through. But it's a huge unification. I want to thank His Excellency again for wanting to make the biggest fights and the best fights, and another unification. I'm grateful to be working with Golden Boy, who we worked with on this fight, and I've got a great relationship with them now, and it will be a huge night in Riyadh, and another big night to look forward to, and yeah, excited to be out there.
I think when you were doing that interview with Simon Jordan Spencer, I think they mentioned like at the start maybe people were trying to get you out, block you from coming in. I don't know if that's true or not, but the fact that you're lead promoter with Golden Boy, you've got guys on the fights next week, does it show how far you've come, and is it pleasing for you that you are as heavily involved now as you are?
Of course, but ultimately that comes from doing a good job and making sure your fighters cannot be avoided. I really respect His Excellency for seeing through a lot of the bullshit in the sport and saying, I don't care, and so because that's refreshing, and all we want is the promoters to work together to make the best fights. All we want is a fair playing field. We've got that. Some huge fights coming courtesy of Riyadh season for us. Buatsi in a career-defining fight. Tyler Denny in a huge fight to upset the apple cart. Fraser Clark in his massive fight. Like, it just continues. Whittaker, Eubank Jr, Jack Massey possibly becomes a cruiserweight world champion. Now Chris Billam-Smith going into his unification. It's going to be a crazy few weeks. Obviously Adam Azim as well in a huge test. It's like the litmus test now for where all the fighters that we've grown with are getting huge opportunities, and I'm very confident with most of them. Like, I think we could be doing a clean sweep.
Wow, bold. Just two quick ones on slight criticism of Fraser Clark and Wardley 2 going over to Saudi Arabia. Fans would have liked to have seen the rematch here. What would you say in response, or was the opportunity just too good to turn down?
Look, ultimately the fighters come first, and I'd have loved to do it in the UK, and maybe we'll see a third one in the UK. Like, I think it's one of those fights that could easily be a trilogy. The first one we got in the UK, which was for me the best night on British soil this year. It was that good. And they get their big payday now, and we have to respect that. These guys put in the fact that they're fighting so quickly after what we saw in March the 31st. I thought they might have said, right, I'm not fighting for 8, 10, 12 months. It was brutal. So the fact that they're fighting this early, they deserve a big payday, but they also are part of one of for me, the best cards in history. I know Shakur did news last night, but to have Bivol Beterbiev and Wardley Clark and Opataya Massey and Eubank Jr and Ben Whittaker, who all headline shows in their own right, it's going to be a very special night.
Last one, Ben. Billy Joe came out and said he had talks with Eubank's management about making a fight. Obviously, Eubank's got a fight in Riyadh season. What would you say? Have you been part of those discussions? Do you think that fight happens next year?
I think it's too premature to talk about it just yet, but I have said previously on record, if Billy Joe Saunders comes back, then that fight will happen, because Chris wants it to happen, and Chris, the animosity between those two is as such that it's part of the reason why they're motivated to keep going. And so let's see. We'll see whether it's all in Billy's hands, really, because Chris will fight who he wants, and he really wants to fight Billy Joe Saunders after what happened earlier on in his career.
I appreciate your time. Ahead of Azim against Davies October 19th at the Copper Box, expecting a sellout there?
The interest we've had since we announced this, and I swear from the pre-sale and stuff, is at similar level to Wardley Clark, like in terms of the numbers coming through. It's going to be a huge night at the Copper Box. I think people are excited to just get a domestic night in.